Right, so the rumored redesign for the iPhone 17 Pro has been further confirmed by new CAD models, and so let's dive into everything they show. Now, the dummy models are from leaker Sonny Dickson, who has been pretty credible in the past, and whilst there is a wide array of models shown in the photo, if we focus on the Pro models first, we can see there is the new camera bar. Now this will encompass a triple lens layout that's pretty familiar, but the mic flash and LiDAR have moved to the right side. Now moving down, you'll see there's a cutout below the camera bar, and inside this area is the MagSafe ring. Well, this will be the glass portion of the device. The rest of the chassis will now be aluminium, including the camera bar, but obviously this will still need to support wireless charging, hence why there is a glass portion, which could give us a two-tone finish. There have also been rumors that we could see reverse wireless charging finally on the iPhone, and the glass logo will be an indicator where you can place your AirPods and top them up using your iPhone. This has been long rumored, but I hope we finally see it with the 17 series. Now, the regular iPhone 17 does not look very different and is near identical to the iPhone 16, but we also do have iPhone 17 Air featured in this leaked image, and actually Sonny Dickson had shared a case for the 17 Air, which shows us the visor camera bar similar to Pixel devices. However, as you can see, there's only going to be one camera lens on the left side of the device. Now, there is no cutout below the camera bar on the 17 Air, which does make me think the back panel is going to be completely glass, similar to current iPhones, and only that camera bar is going to be aluminium. Also, we see MagSafe is here for those worrying this might be too thin to actually fit MagSafe. Thankfully, that's not the case. The 17 Air also has space for the action button as well as camera control, so yes, despite it being 5.5mm in thickness, you're still getting flagship hardware features, even though camera control is pretty useless, so I wouldn't have cared if they removed it. Let's next talk about thermal upgrades, but before we get into that, sub to the channel would be appreciated. It's free and will bring you the latest about Apple right subscription box, so please consider it. Join the Surround Byte gang now. So Chinese leaker Instant Digital says Apple's going to incorporate a vapor chamber heatsink for better thermal performance, which by the way has been reported in the past by another source called MyDrivers. This technology is already popular in the Android space, and if you're wondering how it works, essentially these chambers spread heat evenly across a large surface area, and this prevents thermal throttling so the device can maintain its peak performance for longer. This is great news for Genshin Impact nerds who game on their phone for many hours, but it's not just a benefit for gamers. Taking lots of photos and videos can heat up your device as well, so improved thermals would improve the camera experience, since the phone likely wouldn't be forced to dim the screen to make up for it overheating. Now of course, I do want to mention the iPhone 16 series did have thermal upgrades, which made a difference in my testing. I believe they'd include a graphene sheet to dissipate heat, but a vapor chamber will make an even bigger difference when you're pushing the device to the extreme, like gaming or heavy usage of the camera as I'd mentioned, and ultimately I'll take any thermal upgrades. MyDrivers had suggested the complete iPhone 17 range was going to get this thermal upgrade, and that made sense to me because the Air, especially being so razor thin, does need better thermals to prevent any overheating issues. But Instant Digital claims only the Pro phones with the A19 Pro are getting a vapor chamber system, so that those devices can maintain high performance under heavy workloads with virtually no throttling. That's cool, but I would like to see that come to the complete range, and do remember the complete iPhone 16 range did get the graphene sheet. We also hear from analyst Jeff Poo that we could see 12 gigs of RAM in the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, up from 8 gigs in the 16 series. I'm assuming Apple's mainly giving us this RAM upgrade for Apple Intelligence, but it should also help apps stay in the background for longer and should help future-proof these devices. However, do note this only applies to the Pro phones. The regular 17s are likely going to stick to 8 gigs, so even if we do see thermal upgrades across the board, the Pro phones are going to have the upper hand in terms of raw specs, thanks to the A19 Pro and 12 gigs of RAM. Moving on, the 17 Air may be one of the first iPhones to use a higher density battery. Now it makes sense to use the technology with a device that's naturally going to have space constraints because it will be so thin, and so high density battery allows a lot of energy to be stored within a small physical space. So that means we could potentially get a 4000 mAh battery in the 17 Air that does not take up too much space inside the actual device. This combined with the fact we should see the very efficient C1 modem means battery life should still be solid on the Air, which is good to see because that was undoubtedly a concern many would have with such a thin device. And it's not just the Air getting a bigger battery, the Pro Max also is getting a battery boost. Leaker Ice Universe mentions the device will be getting even thicker, with it now being 8.25mm in thickness, which is a 0.475 increase due to a larger battery. Now I do wonder if it's only the Air using the high density battery technology, or if the complete range is getting this upgrade. I'm guessing because it's new technology, only the Air gets it for now, but since there's no space constraints as such with the Pro Max, they can just pack it to the brim with a humongous lithium-ion battery. I'm still waiting for the day we get a 5000 mAh battery in the Pro Max. Coming to the camera, we have news that we could see 8K video on the iPhone 17 Pro. Now this is coming from a Weibo source, and it seems unsure if they're talking about 8K video or the phone costing 8,000 yuan. But regardless, I think there is a small chance this could pan out. Why do I think this? Well, Gurman said Apple is going to position the iPhone 17 Pro as a content creation machine. And yes, I know 8K video is not very popular right now, but Apple could make it more popular with the iPhone if there is a difference in quality. We have heard about 8K video coming to the iPhone before, but this will be the first year all three lenses will be 48 megapixels. And so now theoretically, you should be able to record 8K video with the ultra-wide, wide and telephoto. So yeah, this year would be perfect to launch this. Now let's talk about the possibilities of a smaller island on the 17 Pro. The island would be smaller because apparently there's a new meta lens for Face ID that integrates the transmitter and receiver components, and so basically in layman's terms, they're shrinking the Face ID components and that allows the island to be smaller. But Instant Digital now claims that apparently this year Apple's only focusing on the back and internals of the device, but the front should be near identical to the 16 Pro with the same bezel size and island. That's not a deal breaker, but it's quite disappointing considering we've had 3 generations of the iPhone with the same dynamic island, and so I thought a smaller island would debut this year. Plus it would help differentiate the Pro phones since only those would get the new island, whereas the regular phones would have the older island, so that's a clear visual difference that sets them apart. So I guess we may have to wait longer to get that, or maybe Apple's waiting for under-display technology to improve so that they can jump straight to a notchless display. Personally, I don't see under-display cameras drastically improving in the next year or so, and so eventually Apple would either have to give us a smaller pill or a punch hole similar to Android devices. Anyway, let's now dive into what you guys are saying regarding the iPhone 17 in the comments. So Shambear says, best cycles to buy a new iPhone every 4 to 5 years, bought my 15 last year and will wait until iPhone 20 is released, but I'll buy the 17 Pro from the used market for around $300 instead. Fair play, that is pretty smart. Obviously iPhones don't have very radical changes year over year anymore because the technology has matured. And so yeah, you could do this quite easily. I'm still using the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and apart from the lack of Apple Intelligence, which is delayed anyway, I'm not really missing out on much. This phone still performs and feels like a flagship device, and so yes, you can quite easily use modern iPhones for 4 to 5 years. However, not everyone upgrades at the same time. There are those who are still on the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 11, and they might be looking to upgrade this year. And so for those older iPhone consumers, the iPhone 17 will be a great buy, or of course, like you mentioned, you can always get last year's iPhone for less. Once the 17s launch, the 16s will be drastically less, and yeah, they'll still be great devices. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.